Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to my storytelling video. Here I will tell you about a story titled The Wondrous Healer. Before that, I will introduce myself first. My name is Natasya Hatarno Putri and I am from Surabaya State University. I am from Mathematics Education 2021, Class U. My registration number is 0 and 65. Let me share my screen. Okay, the story that I read is from literacyglow.org, or we can say that is Room to Read, that web title. And I will tell you about the Wondrous Healer. Before I tell the whole story, I will read the synopsis first. We don't love planes, especially those with the power to heal. But when her beloved grandmother dies from an illness Witten can't cure, she doubts whether she can ever become a great healer. Months later, Witten travels to the magical Arana land to find a healing plant for a sick young orphan girl. There, the Queen of Arana land refused to give Witten the plant she needs unless she answers this question. What does it mean to be a true healer? Will Witten discover the answer in time to save the young orphan girl? Let's find the answer through the story. The story is titled Wondrous Healer, and the author is Audelia Agustin. The illustrator is Nabila Adani and translated by Room to Read. This book was published under Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan. The table of contents include 5 chapters. The chapter 1 is The Small Village Over the Hill, and chapter 2 is A Magic Tree, then The Arana Land, and the 4th chapter is Witten's Grief, and the 5th chapter is The True Healer. The chapter 1. Grandma, I found a new spruce this morning, Witten exclaimed. Will you plant this with me? I'm wondering what it will grow into. My dear Witten, Grandma said, I am not feeling well. I cannot look after the garden today. Grandma had been suffering from an illness called diabetes for a long time. 2 days ago, when she was gardening, she had cut her leg on a shovel. Witten had cleaned and bandaged Grandma's wound. But the wound on Grandma's leg was not healing. Witten knew that wounds on people with diabetes can be difficult to cure, especially if their blood sugar level is high. So she searched in Grandma's encyclopedia of herbal medicines for a plant that would heal Grandma's wound. In the book, we then read, the Dayak onion can lower blood sugar levels. I have to find this plant for Grandma's. We then thought. We then searched near the river and the foothills, but there was no Dayak onion in those areas. Meanwhile, Grandma's condition worsened. She developed a fever and her wound turned a dark red color. When Witten's aunts and uncle came to visit Grandma, the aunt said, I'm worried about your grandma, Witan. I usually see her busy in the garden. Now she is in bed, seriously ill. Witan, why don't you go to Arana Forest? Witan's uncle said. The herbs you're looking for may grow there. Your grandma used to go there all the time. Rest assured, we will look after her while you are gone. And the chapter 2, A Magic Tree. After staying overnight at a villager's house, we then arrived at the edge of Arana Forest. Wow, there were so many unique plants here, we then thought. After I find what I need, I will collect some seeds and plant them later in our garden. Wither was so focused on all the wonderful plants. She didn't watch where she was going and she smacked her head on something. Suddenly, she heard loud buzzing and felt a sharp sting on her face. Behave! Wither yelled and ran downhill as fast as she could. She tried to cover her face and to hide her hands so that the bees could not sting them. At the bottom of the hills was a river. To escape the bees, we then jumped to the river. The buzzing stopped, and the strong river current swept her downstream. At a turn in the river, we then grabbed the roots of a giant tree. With great effort, she pulled herself out of the strong current and onto solid ground. She checked her gardening equipment, drained the water from her sling bag, and hung it to dry on a branch of nearby tree. Exhausted, she leaned against the tree and held and that helped to save her. Grandpa Tree, I am so tired, Betan said. All my clothes are soaking wet. I've been stung by bees and I haven't found the dia onion yet. What should I do? All of a sudden, it seemed like the world was spinning. She felt herself whirling, and falling. I feel dizzy. What's going on? Chapter 3 and the Arana Land. Are you all right? A voice said. We then looked around. To her surprise. The voice came from a tall plant. Hey, hey, Gingerwood, you can speak? Where, where am I now? Arana, welcome, little one. But I was in Arana Forest. I was looking for a cure for my grandma's illness. A whirring sound interrupted her. The air grew fragrant. Something or someone was approached. A tall woman wearing a dazzling cloak of colorful plants emerged from the forest. All creatures stepped aside, making way for the woman and bowed down to honor her. Good day, Your Majesty, Queen of Arana, they said. The Queen of Arana approached with an welcome, little one. It's true that you were in Arana Forest. Arana Land is located within the forest. The Queen of Arana turned to the tall Gingerwood. What do you think about this child, Grandpa Ginger? It is possible, Your Majesty. Decades ago, the Wondrous healer was a child as well. We then took a step forward. I'm not sure what you mean. I only came. We then took a step forward. I'm not sure what you mean. I only came here to find the cure of my grandma. Which cure? Queen of Arana asked. Dia Onion. Your grandmother suffers from diabetes. Yes, and I have to be quick. Her condition is getting worse. Please, let me take some Dayak onion back to her right now. My dear, it won't be so easy. You cannot return to your world yet. First, you must take two tests. We must find out whether you are truly the next wondrous healer. The Queen Arana began to float away. No, please, I don't have time for your test. Witan yelled after her. I don't want to be wondrous healer. I just want to save my grandma. Grandpa Ginger gave Witan a stern look. Consider your words, little one. The wondrous healer connects the two worlds, the one of plants and the one of humans. Without that connection, humans would have no knowledge of how to use plants for medication and food, and the plants would have no help for humans to fulfill the plant's noble duty to serve the world. Witan pulled at her hair. What have I done that I am no strange in this land? Do you put all human worlds to a test? You hugged the giant old tree, Grandpa Ginger said. Hardly any humans hug trees, and even viewers also travel with gardening tools. Trust us, little one, you should give the queen's test a try. I'm not little one. My name is Sweden. But tell me, this land has many useful plants, doesn't it? Do you have Dayak onion? Of course we do, Witan. Come with me. I will show you around. Together they climbed a hill and boarded a wooden train. The train moved along its tracks and up a steep hillside. The Queen of Alana was waiting for them at the top. From here, you can see all of Arana land, the Queen of Arana exclaimed, stretching out her hands. We have every type of plant in the world here. We have lived here for centuries with our wondrous healers, and every wondrous healer chose their own way of life. After passing the test, some stay here to tend the plants, and they visit the human world when they are needed. Others live in the human world and return to Arana land only when they need rare herb medicines for healing. Like the previous healers with that, if you pass the test, you can stay in this land or you can leave. Either way, you may take Dayak onion to cure your grandma. But if you choose to remain outside of Arana land and return for plants whenever you wish, you must pass a third and last test. This will prove to me that you are indeed a true wondrous healer and may ask for any kind of plant you wish. All I want is to find the Dayak onion. All I want is to find the Dayak onion for my grandmother, Witan begged. Please, give me the test that will let me take it. Okay, Grandpa Ginger said. Here is your first taste. He took a dozen of seeds from a sack. It identified the plant each of these seeds came from. That's easy, Witan said. She recognized each type of seed, and without hesitation, she named each of the plants from which the seeds had been taken. For the second test, Grandpa Ginger took Witan to a large garden. The Witan had to guess the name of a dozen bulbs and tubers by looking only at the leaves. Witan passed that test also. Everyone cheered for her. Good job, Vitan. The Queen of Arna was smiling. Now have you made your choice? Will you take the third test? No, your majesty. I just only to hurry home to cure my grandma. The Queen of Arana said, but she gave Ethan the dia onion, and Ethan took it joyfully. Grandpa Ginger then led Ethan to a big tree. They stood inside two hollow trunks. Grandpa Ginger peeled the bark and in the hollow and rotated it 3 times. When everything started spinning, Grandpa Ginger jumped out of the tree. The next chapter is Witten's grief. As the whirling stopped, Witten was thrown from the tree hollow. She landed on the ground with a painful thump. When her vision cleared, she saw the roofs of her village house. The big tree was located at the edge of forest near her village. Her aunt and uncle welcomed her happily. Grandma smiled weakly from her bed. I did it, Grandma. I brought the herbs you need. They will heal you. Witten hugged Grandma gently. Witten concocted a potion from the diaconia. Grandma drank the potion 6 times a day. Every day, Witten took care of Grandma. Soon, the old woman's wound healed, yet she grew weaker. As time passed, Grandma was no longer able to sit up and drink the potion. One night, Grandma no longer wanted to drink Witten's potion. Thank you, Ethan, my dear granddaughter. Grandma smiled at her. Your patience and kindness have made me feel better. You are a great healer, my child. The following morning, we then discovered that Grandma had died during the night. On Grandma's face remained a sweet, peaceful smile. Along with the rest of her village, we then grieved for her grandmother. Overcome with sorrow, Witten no longer worked in the garden. She stayed inside, shutting herself off from everybody. Grandma said I am a great healer, Witten thought, but I cannot be. If I were a great healer, Grandma would still be here with me. One morning, Witten woke up hearing a child crying. It hurts. Outside, was a little girl with scraped knees. She was 6 or 7 years old and she was so skinny. Witten rushed outside. She cut an aloe vera leaf from the plant on her porch and rubbed it on the girl's wound. That feels much better. Thank you, sister. What is your name? Witten asked. And where are you from? My name is Tira, and I'm an orphan from the village over the hill. I'm looking for work, but I'm so tired and tripped and Tira suddenly fell to the floor. Carefully, Ethan laid her on a bed. Ethan felt Tira's forehead. It was feverish, and there were red spots from mosquito bites on the girl's arms. Worried, Ethan applied a cool compress to Tira's forehead. Ethan remembered that the villagers had had the same fever some time ago. The cure her grandma had told her was guava fruit. Unfortunately, it was not the guava season, but Ethan knew where guava fruits could be found. Ethan went to the big tree after ensuring that no one was watching. She entered the tree hollow, peeled the bark and rotated it 3 times. Suddenly, everything was spinning. When the tree spun her out, she saw Grandpa Ginger nearby. Grandpa Ginger, take me to the Queen of Arana, please. Without question, Grandpa Ginger gladly took her to the Queen. First, first, I must tell you that I cannot be the wondrous healer. Witan said. She told the queen about her grandma's death. Do you see? Your Majesty, I failed, Witan said, her eyes filling with tears. A healer must cure the person who is ill. No, Witan, that's not true, the queen of Arna said. A healer's work is not so simple. But tell me, what has brought you here now? A little girl in my house has a fever, probably caused by mosquito bites. The cure is guava juice, but it isn't guava season. May I pick some from here, Your Majesty? The Queen of Arana stared out at Witan. Don't you remember my last message, Witan? Witan nodded. I remember, and if I must take your last test to save my friend, I will. All right, Witan, what does it mean to be true here? That seems like an easy question, Witan thought, and she took a deep breath. Being a true healer means having all knowledge about all types of disease and their respective cures. The Queen of Arana looked disappointed. I'm sorry, Vedan. Intelligence and knowledge are not enough to make a person a true healer. You do not pass my last test. Confused, Vedan hurried back home. Chapter 5 is the true healer. Vedan took care of Dira compassionately. She gave her turmeric potion regularly to reduce her fever and applied cool compress to her forehead. She also gave Dira a lot of water to drink to replace what the fever had burned away. When Dira felt sad, Witan hugged her. When the little girl felt bored, Witan made her laugh. Over over the next few days, Dira's fever went down and her appetite returned. But Witan remembered what Grandma had told her about this illness, and she knew that the danger was not over. Keep resting, Dira, so that soon you can garden with me. When Witan's aunt came for a visit, she was delighted to learn that Witan had helped the little girl. How did you heal Dira, Witan? I've applied cold compress to lower her high fever, Witan said. I've given the water to drink, and I've told her to rest. Is that all you have done? The aunt said. No, that's not all, Dira cried. Widan gives me so many hugs. She loves me like a sister. Widan talked about this and an idea came to her. Auntie, Dira's fever will return. I must try again to find a cure. Will you watch her for me? All right, Widan, I will look after Dira. Take care. Once again, Widan entered the big tree on the edge of the village and whirled her way to Arana. There she ran to the queen's throne. Your Majesty, Queen of Arana, I know the answer to your third test. Witan paused to catch her breath. Being a true healer means having tenderness and sincerity. A true healer not only understands which medicines to use, but also treats people with patience and love. The Queen of Arana smiled, and her eyes filled with tears of happiness. Yes, she cried. Now you are officially the wondrous healer of Arana land. The queen had written a beautiful leather bag with pockets inside to hold gardening tools, pottery bowls, and wooden measuring spoons. This gift is for you. Witan opened the lower pocket, a thick book popped out of it, and Witan caught it. That is the book of the Wondrous Healer, the Queen of Arana explained. In it, you can find the names of all the medicinal plants and all the diseases you want to treat. This is amazing! Amazing! Ethan cried. She slowly opened the book. On the inside cover, she saw a long list of names. These are the names of all the previous Wondrous Healers, the Queen explained. You might recognize the last one. Witan grinned. The last wondrous healer had been her grandma. She put the book back into the leather bag and tied it around her waist. Then she hugged the Queen of Arana tightly. The Queen hugged Witan back. Now, let's go to the garden to pick some guavas for you. They walked along narrow footpaths into a vast guava garden. This guava smell so delicious and fresh. This guava smells so delicious and fresh, Witan exclaimed. Grandpa Ginger had gave her a basket and she filled it to the top. You can come here whenever you need plants or seeds for medicine. We will always be happy and ready to help you, Witan. Witan bowed down to the queen. Thank you so much, Queen of Arana. She kept smiling all the way back to the giant tree. I will make you and my grandma proud. On arriving at her house, she sliced and boiled all the guava until she had plenty of cheese. She gave the guava juice regularly to Dira as a medicine. A week later, Dira felt fully recovered. She woke one morning soon after in high spirits and called out to Widan. Look, Widan, bees are coming. Spring will be here soon. Dira shouted. The little girl's cheeks were rosy and plump. Her face was radiant. Let's go to the garden, Kira, Widan said. Hand in hand, they went outside. What is the purple flower? Kira asked. And this red tin leaf? And this funny plant with all the yellow dots? If you tell me, I will help you, Widan. I will help you look after these plants and help people. Witan smiled. Now she understood the meaning of Grandma's message for her. Now she knew she was a true healer. This is the story attribution, and thank you for listening my storytelling. That story has a moral that we in every job we like we should be dedicated and full of excitement like Liden does. She came back 3 times to Arana Land and um she don't give up. She always trying and then she become a true healer. Thank you for your Thank you for your attention to my storytelling. Can I hope it can give a wonderful feeling just like the wondrous healer. Thank you. Goodbye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.